Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft Season 6. The Civil War is over and we are not in Green Space for any Civil War related activities. I'm actually here to test out my frames, the frame rate that you're seeing right now. If the video gets a bit herky-jerky, that's absolutely normal. I'm totally aware of that in Green Space, and that's actually why we're here, because my friends, I have had hardware issues with this computer that have caused me a real headache, and it's been a kick in the bum to remind me that I basically need a new computer. This one that has been making these videos on my channel has lasted me 7 years. I'm really proud of how long I've managed to make the hardware last for, but there is one thing that's really lacking, and that is frame rates inside of Minecraft. They can be pretty abysmal at times. So I've come over here where we sometimes get a little bit shaky, and we'll jump over to Mumbo Space as well. So Mumbo Space will always be a fantastic benchmark for your performance. Doesn't matter what season of Hermitcraft it is, there's always tons of redstone gizmos activating around the clock and an excessive use of glass, which causes the game to do lots of calculation as it does all those transparent layers. And can you feel it right there? Can you see that herky-jerkiness? We're down to about 17 frames a second. So maybe in the next episode of Hermitcraft, I will be fully upgraded and able to come back here and fly around with it being silky smooth. So we are doing our own little bench test right here to see how big the difference is going to be. The CPU that I have brought is the i9 9900K. It is basically the best thing on the market for single-threaded performance, which is what is going to massively increase your frames in Minecraft. A lot of people think that it's going to be the graphics cards, but because this is programmed in Java, a lot of the work ends up on the CPU. So we should see a massive boost, and I should get my other computer up and running in the next episode. But anyway, what are we going to do in this episode, you might be wondering? Well, we're going to be working on this area again, and I've actually already been recording, doing some stuff on the creative server again, figuring out is what's going to be under here. So let's jump ahead to that footage and check it out together. Alright then, so we're back on our creative server on the underside of the builds, and we can dig this thing down about as far as that over there. And we may not use up all of this space, but I have indeed found a pattern that we can use to put in front of the walls and make this area look really interesting. So sometimes experiments don't really yield so much, and other times they lead you in a good direction. I really liked this that we have going on over here. I thought we could repeat this over and over again with these two colours, and it would make a really good underside for what we've built up above. Now, of course, we got to convert this all to slabs, which I thought would be a real pain, but you know what, I've gone ahead and done it, and it isn't so bad. It's going to be a pain to construct, but now it's built with half slabs either side of a block, so nothing will be able to spawn down there. And bear in mind, this is mostly going to reside within darkness. Now, how tall this will be, as I said a moment ago, I don't know, but I measured out this going across from one side to the other, and originally this was going to be flat with the side of this, and I realized that wouldn't work with these slabs because you can't stack two different types of slabs together. So I pushed that back by one, and it happens to be perfect because my measurement of where this is going to then have that material going through it, as you can see, stacks perfectly into the corner with one block to spare, which means we can push it back on that direction and we can push it back on that side there. So this is going to fit in perfectly, and now it's a question of how tall do I want this thing to be to make it look good. And if we head up here, what I'm starting to work on next is just copying this up and creating templates that I can copy and paste. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these blocks from this one, and then what I'll do is I'll create some sort of markers for selecting. So somewhere over here I can make a selection of the area, which will be probably right there. Get rid of all of these blocks. I would also need that block to disappear, and then the other corner would be all the way over here, right? So I select those two corners for the one that I want, and then I stand on here and I copy, and then when I paste I can put it in the right position. So then I'll be able to do this and go and stand in the right positions down here and copy and paste it and build this thing up quickly. I've also got to create a corner piece as well, and the corner is always going to be the same material, which is nice. It's always going to be these prismarine bricks. So I've brought our palette into this area so we can start doing copying and pasting. And this one over here was designed so I could sort of copy corners of it out from all directions, but what we're going to do is simply do a rotation and paste. So I've copied that area over there. In fact, I haven't actually. I've made the selection. So now we copy, we rotate as you've seen before, and then we paste, and now it's going to be perfectly aligned in that corner. And with some simple copy and pasting, look at this. We moved it from one side to the other. When I copy and paste, what I do is I copy from a relative position. So when I was first putting these ones in, I would stand at the back on top of a slab, and then I could simply just count out the distance, right? So there's a gap of 1 block, and then I stand on there and I paste, and the next one is in the correct position, and then I've done the same thing for the other ones coming through this way. So what we've got to do next, obviously, is put these ones into the bottom slots, and we just focus on one wall. So once again, once it's all in place, we can use the rotate tool. Okay, it's the moment of truth where we give this a shot. That's pretty hypnotic. That's pretty crazy. Wow. I decided to cut it off here because I felt like it was going to be a lot of work to build this wall, so I didn't want to dig it down too far. We're also going to have some like openings to go through to other areas, so the fact that this bit here is on a middle means that we could cut it out and use it as like a walkway and then an entrance, so that's pretty cool. And now I think what I want to do is try and find a way to tie this into the roof, which may be very, very tricky. So I'm going to be working with Otter at some point on that, so we may just jump ahead in this episode and start working on clearing out the space. Down the bottom here though, I know what it's going to be. This dark prismarine is a nice trim, and then I think we're going to have some sort of pattern of depth underneath here. Maybe what we do is we bring in the dark prismarine 1 block at a time, like this, and then fill it all up with glass, so it has that kind of look from above. So you look down and see the pattern. It can look, oh, it actually looks pretty much the same when you do it like that, but then things will spawn down here if not lit, right? So I think this means we can move ahead in our base now, because this middle area right here is set. I love this, although we are looking at it with night vision on. And without, it's all just dark, so we may need some strategic lighting in places, maybe from down below the dark prismarine at the bottom. And that kind of brings a hypnotic look to it, but we do lose a fair look of this build. So maybe one of the things we're going to need to introduce is some glass blocks up here, like skylights that let light in. That could really do the trick. So we will have options for lighting in this area, don't you worry about that. I really love the idea though of it going darker at night time as well. This base is going to have a magical feel to it. Obviously we've got to start clearing out this area, so I'm going to set up a beacon and we're going to do a whole bunch of digging. We actually already have a beacon in this area, but it wasn't centered in the very center of this build, so I've had to go up there and remove a few blocks, so that's a little bit odd. And then down here I've done some digging. This was about 45 minutes worth of work, so we've got a long way to go still. There is a ladder over here that goes down as low as we're going to dig, so we have a few more layers left, probably about 6, 7, probably more like 8 or 9 blocks down to go. And so we'll do a little bit more digging, and I'm going to turn that into a time-lapse chat because I want to inform you as to what's going on with my computer. And you also may notice, once again, my frames are struggling a little bit. We don't have the best CPU for this, but this is a symptom of a problem, and that is that we have items looping around forever because all of our storage over here has backed up. I didn't really think about this. It was all fun and games setting up the storage, but once some of it fills up most of the way, like the fish over here, then those items will just circulate forever. So we kind of need a way to dispose of items once they've gone over this. So it should be pretty simple. Just somewhere further down the line, probably on that spot right there, I'm going to put a hopper that will dispense the items into lava. Now I have a question. Can we get away with not using any redstone at all because the water isn't going to flow down here? It looks like the answer might be yes. Although the momentum might mean the items flow all the way over the top. So I'll watch this for a little while, but it does actually look like they're just going to drop straight down. And I guess that saves us doing some more work. But there is a lot of work to be done with all of the digging that we have to do, and I'm doing a time-lapse. It's a little classic mumbo-jumbo time-lapse chat. Speaking of Mumbo, earlier in this episode we went over to his base to check out his frames, and that's because in the next episode I planned on showing you his base in my new computer to see the improvement. And unfortunately I've run into some really bad problems with my computer. There is something wrong with the motherboard, and it looks like it's a hardware issue because I go into Windows after I install it and I'm setting up the computer and all that stuff, and it cannot find the Ethernet port, it cannot find the Bluetooth, or it can't find the audio system as well. And these have code 28 errors, which basically means something's very wrong with the hardware and the computer can't actually communicate with it. I've tried all sorts of BIOS settings, drivers, chipset drivers, Windows update patches. Nothing is getting this motherboard to work, and I think it is something wrong with the hardware. I've also been in touch with Asus support, but I have heard nothing back from them yet as well, which is kind of worrying because I need to get this thing replaced or fixed or something because it's a hardware problem, it looks like. Anyway, obviously spending hours and hours trying to fix a computer can become very stressful, and I've certainly got worked up by this situation, but I've been trying to be mindful and put the situation into perspective, so I kind of want to pass this on to you. If ever you're having a problem like that and it gets you worked up and stressed out, just think about what's actually going on, because I can still sit down here at this computer and make videos for all of you and do what I love. And so, although I've got this problem with this new computer that I'm obviously excited about, it's really not the end of the world, and it's just a problem that every now and then I'm going to have to put a little bit of time into trying to solve, and that's fine. And so I've been putting it into perspective and calming myself down, and at the end of the day, everything's good, right? And one day, eventually, this computer problem will be solved. At least I hope it does get solved. You know, if I could go back in time and just have ordered a pre-assembled one, I would have definitely done that. Also, the bats, it's dark up there, they can spawn, then they're attracted to light, so they're forever just flying in my face while I'm digging. And a little bit of a reward right at the very end, managed to find some diamonds. So let's go ahead and mine them, just 4 of them. Nope, 5 down here as well. And that's a grand total. Oh, what? Literally got 1 for each of them. This thing doesn't have 4. Well, my friends, that was a complete and utter derp. I could have swore I had 2 picks. One had Silk Touch and the other had Fortune, but nope. Apparently this one doesn't. Maybe it got stuck in my backpack and I swapped them around. No, there's no extra pick. Huh. Well, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's not like we're desperately in need of diamonds. Anyways, we shall be taking a break from all of the digging. I'm going to come back to this later if I have the time. There are other pressing matters on the server. Something to do with the Civil War, which is indeed over, but I am starting a Civil War Preservation Society so that we will never forget the wonders and the horrors of the Civil War. And I guess I'll explain more when we head over there. Let me just sort out my inventory, and we'll head over to the Civil War area. And while we're on the way over there, I thought I'd mention that the next episode we're going to be focusing on this nether hub. I have materials to contribute, and I'm going to show you how we'll build the floor at the bottom together, and it looks like some people have started to make some serious progress around here. There is lots of the black concrete going up on the sides. That's terrific to see. And here in the middle, Wells's old nether hub has been disassembled, and it's starting to look like chaos and carnage at the moment. But next episode, we will certainly jump into this and help move things forward. It's fantastic to see this project coming along. I know it was announced a while ago, but then obviously all the prank war shenanigans and the Christmas area stuff, that all happened. And so it kind of been put on hold for a couple of months, but we will be getting back into it. Hey, who's been putting paintings on the side of our base? This is like graffiti. I bet this was Joe. He was running around with potions. This is a very Joe thing to do. There's also a bunch of signs over here with text on, so it was probably him during the battle. Anyway, I'm starting a conservation society. It will be a society of 1, because I'm the only member so far. But the idea is to preserve the Civil War site. So one day in the future, when the world download is available, you'll be able to see it just as it is right now after the final battle took place, because this place is basically being boarded off. So with these materials, some nether bricks, some iron bars, we're going to assemble a border around the outside. We chose these materials because we thought they looked cool together, but also we have a massive stockpile of this thanks to Joe doing his crazy buildings around the outside of our base, which got taken apart. And over here you'll see that I've started to build the wall already. So I've gone for a simple design just because we're doing this across a large scale, and the idea is to separate this from the other borders or your territories. Like, this is the medieval district, right? So we don't want someone accidentally building it inside the Civil War area. We're trying to preserve this so that the story will live on, so to speak. Anyway, this is the design that I've gone for. It's like a 7-wide section of iron bars with nether brick below, and then there's nether brick on the side with stairs and torches. And then in places, we've deliberately missed some of the iron bars just to kind of add a little bit of detail, you know, make it look like a chain link with some breaks in it. And then here and there, we've had to get a little bit more creative and do some diagonal building as well. So this is kind of how it looks. If we are able to hop over to the other side, which might be a little bit tricky. Nope, my parkour skills are intact. We're also building it downwards on this side over here, so it looks a little bit clean where it reaches the ground. But then I think around on this side I stopped doing that. I was just focusing on getting things done. So yeah, over here I've got a lot of nether brick to place, but luckily we have chests full of it, thanks to Joe's Pantheon that he used to try and get into our base. And anyway, you can see while I've been wiggling and worm this thing around and trying to keep as much as the area in this space as possible. So where we're standing right now and just in front of me, maybe not so much part of the battlegrounds, so to speak, but this felt like a good place to put a border. So it goes as far as what I think is in front of us right now, and I think what we'll do next is extend a section outwards like this. Then we get to go diagonal through these trees, so those will get chopped down. I am trying to put this in a place though where we don't have to damage too much of the surrounding area. Then it will probably come diagonal all the way through this space and then straight, so we leave this little mound here, and diagonal down to the border there, because on the left hand side of me where these stone blocks are, this is where the shopping district will be expanded into, and it looks like there's going to be a rail running right through the middle of it, which will look absolutely fantastic. Anyway, I got to get my building cap on here, and we're going to finish doing the wall from the spot over there to this side. Right, so there it is. The wall now separates the future expansion of the shopping area from the Civil War zone, and we are going to take to the skies and just experience this from up above. Wow, it's quite foreboding from up here. That's one half of the project done right there. Now we've got to do the same thing on the other side. I'm not entirely sure where this is going to go. I think we're going to start somewhere around here and be on the edge of this river, then go over this space, and I guess we maybe want to incorporate this or perhaps have the wall come to the front. Actually, I think it would be a good idea to have a section of the wall from the water there to the front of this, and then from where I described a moment ago all the way over to the other side. So this can become a part of the wall in a way. This is where I believe Concorp set up some sort of gambling system for who was going to win. What a terrible scheme that is. Oh, and it's very close to our project over here. In fact, it touches it, which is absolutely fine. I'm not bothered by that. Okay, this hasn't taken long to put together. I was kind of thinking this area is massive, but when you're building a wall just alongside it, it's not quite as big as you think. And this one's got 2 gaps in, so a reasonable sized gap for the entrance to the betting area there. And we had a ravine in the way, and I thought rather than bridge across, we would just leave a gap here. So that's all taken care of, and I'm not sure if there's any other forms of preservation that are needed in this area, but we are done here for now. So back here in the base, I have carved out another sliver of land. We're almost at like the last part of it, and had to go and repair my picks. We burned through this. I'm probably going to have to repair the pair of them about 8 times to do the entire area. So more digging in front of us. But I was hoping by the end of the episode we could say all of this is done. So I'm probably going to live stream right now. I mean, you know, when you're watching the video, the live stream will be over. But I do live stream regularly on twitch.tv/xisuma. And for the month of February, I'll probably be streaming a little bit more Hermitcraft more often. So if you're interested in that, make sure you head over to twitch.tv/xisuma and follow me over there to catch the live streams. So you know the deal. It's a digging progress update, and I guess nothing of too much significant happened in the live stream other than us hanging out and having some awesome chats about all sorts of things like computer parts, as I mentioned, of building a new computer. So we've done the halfway mark over here, and then I've cut out another sliver. I think I'm going to calculate how many blocks this is in total, like get the distance from there over to that side, then to that corner, and then multiply it down there, and yeah, that should be an easy calculation to make. So it is 53 times 53. I didn't count the walls twice, of course this is a square, and we've dug down by 30 blocks. So that is 84,000 blocks in total. think I've done the maths right. I would have thought it was like 1,000,000 blocks. Guess I wasn't really thinking it through. Yeah, 84,000 blocks in total to dig out here. And there's still a few more to go, but I have fantastic news. And if you can hear a little bit more background noise than normal, that's because my other computer is running on the desk next to me, and I managed to get it working. Thanks to the place that I brought it from, I rang them up and spoke to them, and they suggested the problem was that my Windows 10 CD was actually out of date. And this is interesting because it was so old, it was unable to download the latest updates. It would actually break the system itself and get into a crash loop where the computer can't update and can't install the latest Windows 10. So anyway, now I actually have the latest Windows 10 and it is running and I'm getting it set up, and maybe the next episode will actually be on there. Anyway, I want to show you a problem that we've got. Over here in this corner there is like an ocean going quite far down, so I'm going to have to build another wall over here, then get in some sponges and then clear it out, and that's going to take me a long time. And now I'm kind of excited about setting up my other computer. So we don't need to jump into building this straight away. The next episode is going to be about the Nether Hub, our community project for this season, and so we will take care of this after we've done some work over there. So basically it's all ready for the next stage, apart from that little bit in the corner. This is where we're going to wrap up the episode. I do hope you have enjoyed it, and if you have, leave a like. As always, thank you so much for your support on the Hermitcraft series. I'll be seeing you very soon with another episode. Although if it isn't soon, it's probably because I'm still setting up my other computer, right? Anyway, you know what's going on. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.